Welcome to Key West, Florida in June of 2023. Hey everyone, I'm Patrick from Oakland Travel, and we are backing out of Key West, Florida on the Serenade of the Seas. We're on the upper deck of the ship, and you see the Navy pier right there. Got a Coast Guard cutter in the background. And to the left of what you're looking at on the screen is the Pier B dock that we were docked at, and then a little bit farther to the left, kind of back around the corner, is Mallory Square. There we go. There's where we came from right there, Pier B, and then to the left back over that way is Mallory Square. So we are backing up in a kind of an interesting little angle here, and I guess they have a certain routine of how they do this. They sort of back up a certain direction, get far enough away, and then they start to kind of spin the ship around. And the next stop on our cruise was going to be Royal Caribbean's Private Island, the Perfect Day at the CocoCay. That was, and then I think we had a sea day. I think we had a sea day after Perfect Day before we came back into Tampa. And so these were little summer cruises they were doing on Serenade of the Seas. It's kind of perfect because what they were doing with the Serenade was in December of 2023. That's when the World Cruise started, December 10th, 2023. And so for the entire summer and into the fall, they had Serenade basically docked out of Tampa, Florida, just running all of these 4 and 5 night cruises over to Key West and Perfect Day. And then that way, when they had to get it down to Miami for the start of the World Cruise, they didn't have to go very far. So it kind of made sense. And I think if you look at the long-term itinerary for the Serenade of the Seas, you will see it going back probably in the fall, or maybe in the the winter or whatever it is of 2025. You'll probably see it going back to do the Tampa cruises, but I'm not really sure. The World Cruise, I don't know if they're going to do another one or not, or if they're going to skip a year. I'm not really sure. I haven't seen anything on that. But as the Serenade of the Seas here backs up, in a minute you're going to see a lot of the silt and I don't know what you call it, the dirt or whatever it is that's on the bottom down here on the seabed floor under the ship. And it starts to get kicked up from the propellers and everything as the ship is just starting to spin around. And you'll see all of that brown dirt, silt. There it is right there in the water. And that was the topic of conversation back in the pandemic, March of 2020. The cruise ships stopped coming to Key West. And the residents of Key West noticed that the water around Key West was a lot clearer because the cruise ships had stopped coming. And so that led them to pass an ordinance in November of 2020 to ban cruise ships above a certain type and size. And so they figured out how to pass that ordinance and put it into law in the city of Key West. But then the state of Florida stepped in and said, no, you cannot do that. Spring of 2021, state of Florida legislature passed a law that prevented, it was aimed at Key West, but it prevented, I think, local jurisdictions or whatever it is, like towns, municipalities, something like that, from passing laws that would impact maritime traffic for the state of Florida or something. I'm paraphrasing like crazy, but it's out there. There's a law basically on the books as of the time that I am recording this audio here that prevents local cities in Florida from, doing what Key West did. And so they sort of settled into this little groove of the privately owned Pier B is the only dock that cruise ships can dock at. The other 2 locations, which would be right there on the left of the screen, the Navy base, which is government owned, and then Mallory Square, which I believe is owned by the city of Key West. Those 2 don't allow cruise ships, only the privately owned Pier B. And so it has limited cruise ship traffic since the cruise restart to 1 ship at a time. And the ship can only be so big, because if it's too big, like an Oasis class from Royal Caribbean as an example, could not fit in here because it would run aground. It sits too deep in the water. And if you get a ship along the size of like the Celebrity Edge as an example, that is just about too big, because Celebrity actually came to Key West one time since all of the cruise restart. And the back of the ship was sticking out into the area that is technically part of the Navy base's little deal over here. And Celebrity kind of got their hands slapped, got a nasty gram from the government, basically, that they had the back of the ship was encroaching on the Navy bases area over there, whatever. So there's only a certain amount of room there for cruise ships, both in terms of just the physical size of the dock area, and then of course, you know, the depth of the water and so on. So most of the ships that come in here are kind of about the size of the Serenade of the Seas, maybe slightly bigger, but you'll never see an Oasis class come in here because it just can't handle it.